Oh,
Yeah.
I hope you're ready now, because now that my setup's
Oh,
actually ready, I'm prepared to
yeah.
stump you with some great questions.
Oh boy, I'm ready. Two things that I decided to do is I invited Base Stabilizer and Geek onto this interview because Geek is actually one of the newer builders for us. And if you've got questions about building and like what's it like to be a newer builder, I figured Geek would be one of the better guys to answer because I'm experienced, but coming from like a blind eye, like first introduction to all this building, he'd be a good person to ask that question. And then Base Stabilizer, he's another guy he's been there like the whole way, like the whole 3 years of this whole project. So I invited the both of them. You both are still here, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Yep, we're here.
All right,
Awesome,
perfect.
Yeah.
awesome.
So my
Okay.
so my first question, since you've clearly started up the based clan tag, when are we getting based microphone,
A based microphone.
based speaker, based green screen?
Good question. That's honestly up to anyone who's like, yeah, I see it and they're like really passionate about content creation, honestly. If they just want to throw on the based microphone, the based green screen,
Just gonna
I'm
go up
okay
to him
with
and be
it.
like, "Do
I'm
you
all right.
fancy being a microphone?"
Yeah. Honestly, Base Stabilizer came up with his own name. I didn't even ask him. He was like, "Do it." Why did you do Base Stabilizer? Just out of curiosity, because I don't even know.
I want to know
So
this as
why
well.
did you do that Base Stabilizer?
So the idea for base stabilizer, obviously your base camera, and obviously
Yeah,
stabilizers help cameras, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I was like, it makes sense.
makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. Yeah,
So
yes, sir.
the
Yeah.
question that I wanted to start off with is, how long have you been planning this? How far back has this project been in development? Like, is this
This is
something that
one that
just last week you went, "Oh, I fancy making a Batman film," or have you been doing this since you were 12 and saw your first Minecraft video by Dan TDM?
this is a really great question. I have a really long answer to this
Oh,
too.
fantastic! We'll get great watch time in the interview. We can drag this thing out into a 20-minute video easy.
I will say, Base Stabilizer, you were here for the almost the entire project. So the small answer is 3 years. This has gone on for 3 years. This is my fault, everyone, that it did go out for that long. Um, but throughout that time, I've been getting better and better and better, and I've mastered what I wanted people to see. And Base Stabilizer can back me up when I say this. One of the main reasons was it wasn't the issue of the story. I never had an issue with the story. I've written the entire story and I've never changed it ever since then. That's never been touched. And
So
honestly,
the story's been the
collecting
same from
dust,
the start.
yes, the story's been the same, but what I want people to see changed. So originally, it was going to be a like 1989 inspired Gotham. But I pumped the brakes on that because I really looked at what this story is meant to be. And it's not meant to be the frightening Batman. It's not meant to be the story of how the Batman is conquering Gotham. It's meant to be a story of, instead of Gotham and Batman, it's meant to be a story of Bruce Wayne. And it's not meant to be this haunting Gotham. It's meant to be what would a realistic Bruce look like, feel like through this entire story. And when you look at it from that perspective, I think people would really appreciate the story a lot better. Where instead of putting all the attention on the buildings and all the attention here and there, we did a mix of The Dark Knight and the Batman, the 2022 film. Um, we did a mix of that as our base of Gotham, and we built out ever since then. And one of the main ideas was to get it as realistic as possible. So that's why it took so long. My fault for it taking so long, because you can ask Base Stabilizer, just tell him how many Gothams we've deleted. Like we've
Yeah, I
Deleted.
gotten
mean,
rid.
we've yeah,
We've gotten
we've
rid of a
been
lot.
through probably like 7 Gothams.
Mhm.
probably.
So what
That's
was
about
the
right,
problem?
yeah.
Were you having like some kind of issue with the world, or would you start building it and decide this isn't how I want it to be?
It was exactly that. I would start building it, and I'm like, I'm going back to my roots of the 1989 look, or even the Arkham look. I didn't want it to be another Arkham City, another Arkham Knight. I wanted it to be its own Gotham set in a realistic world. Like, what if this was realistic, like the Dark Knight and the Batman? But throughout that, I kept building, 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 and the more I would look, the more I realized this is way too similar to 1989's Gotham, where it's hyper realistic and it's like you've got so many towers and so many sky bridges and like all these pipes going every which way. It was impossible to tell a story like that when you've got magnificent builds where it shows that this isn't a realistic world, but it's meant to be. So I guess what you could say is I murdered the character of Gotham. What Gotham is supposed to be, I murdered that, and I tried over and over to fix it. And we went a really long way, and we went down onto one final Gotham, and that's the one that you're gonna see in this series.
Is there any versions of Gotham that you wish you stuck with? You deleted it at the time, but now looking back, or at some point you look back and thought, that's the one that I should have continued with. Or I liked something about that one. Is there any you wish regretting, basically?
One thing I regret was this is gonna sound so stupid, but base stabilizer. You were there for this Gotham. We built a Blackgate prison, and that was one of the things I thought was really cool, and we're rebuilding it now a little bit better than before. But the other thing that I built was a Gotham Empire billboard, and it was amazing. I'm going to recreate that, but it was amazing to even look at. Like it was fantastic, and it's all out of Minecraft blocks, but you could see like I used like two different fonts, so like big Gotham um and then the little, well, Gotham Empire, then the little Empire at the bottom. I couldn't think of the words for a second, but yeah, no, I mean base stabilizer. Do you remember that world? Do you remember that like sign and everything?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I mean if you want to comment on that too, I mean go ahead, go for it.
For that world specifically, I have to agree with you, base camera. I think the highlight of that world was Blackgate.
Yeah,
Obviously, when we were making that, we put a lot of time into it, and I definitely think it was cool for the time. But I am excited that we have this new world and we're able to sort of evolve that Blackgate and make it better than it was before.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Geek, on the other hand, you've never seen any of the older worlds, but I will say, Geek, you've watched me build. You've seen how I've done the current world. Is there anything that you'd say, like Geek would say, Geek, is there anything you would say about the current state of this Gotham?
First of all, let me introduce myself. So I joined the team as a voice actor, and I kind of lend my voice to bring the narrative of Shadow's origin to life. Over time, I became really captivated by the creative process and like just the general rendition of Gotham City. Although I'm obviously relatively new to the art of Minecraft building, I, have never done this before. I have watched Gotham City being built recently. I've seen a lot of Based Camera's work on YouTube as well. He started this series called 30 Seconds or Less. It's a really nice series where he builds a lot of builds and different like creative buildings under 30 seconds, and he explains it in under 30 seconds, which is really cool. So that's a great question, first of all. So Tristan, I know Tristan has been a part of the build team for a while now, and he's kind of been overseeing the project for the past, 3 years, which is just crazy to think about. So I first started working with Base Camera. I want to say it was very recent, but I started, doing a lot of the work with behind the scenes, and I found him initially on Casting Call. So I submitted a submission, I think it was on December 9th for Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I met Base Camera a
recent.
lot before that. Yeah, that was pretty recent. I met Base Camera way before that, before he actually made the submission for Brandon. So I started off by submitting a different submission for a different character under his project. It was for Commissioner Loeb. He's one of the characters in the series.
Yeah.
So I sent that submission on December 4th, and I think these camera like my voice for a different character.
You've got
so-
an incredible like narrator voice. You sound like the guy who's gonna be giving the tutorial at the start of a Portal game. You know, Portal 3, you're gonna be getting a phone call when they finally make it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
I am very
Yeah, it is.
unsurprised that you
Trust.
started as a voice actor. Because I heard your voice for the first time and I thought, this guy has to be a voice actor, right? Like, if he hasn't missed
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, Geek's
Yeah.
Geek's a voice actor, and yeah, very thankful for.
I'm really
Geek
into
and
voice
all my
acting.
voice actors. As a matter of fact, if you look in the audience, Theo Scott is another one of the voice actors. I'm thankful for both of you for being a part of the project, and I can't wait for the future. I can't wait to see how this grows, how this is going to be, and yeah, I don't mean to
Hell
take it
yeah,
away,
dude.
but yeah.
That's alright. I had this question which I was going to come to a little bit later, but I guess since we're talking about the cast, I'll jump to it now. What was
Yeah.
the process of you building up your cast? Like, there must have been a point in writing and preparing this where you decided, okay, I'm going to need other people to help me voice these characters. What was your process of finding them, and what were you looking for in each individual actor?
One thing that I definitely was looking for is this is definitely advice for anybody who's doing voice acting. Get even like a $30 mic. Get a mic. That is one thing that I was definitely looking for, because if you're using your phone, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with using your phone, but if you're using your phone and someone's doing something like right out your window, they're going to hear that. So definitely people with microphones, and like they have like that sense of like professionalism, I guess.
You were looking for the guy who you wouldn't have to try and filter out his brother being beaten up with a belt in the background.
I was afraid of that, honestly. And even though they're expensive, this is what I'm using. I'm just using a blue snowball.
Have you had any
equipment.
issues like that? Have you had someone send in voice lines and there's so much going on in the background that you can't use it?
I hate saying it. The person knows who I'm talking about, but one person, and I gave them that advice. I'm like, you definitely need a microphone, and I'm gonna help him too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna leave him in the dust. I'm gonna help him, especially because
Whoever
one
you
thing
are,
is...
you better be watching this. We know who you are. We're calling you out. It's incredibly personal.
I'm not doing any of that. That's all Davey. But no. It's nothing against him either. And when I see that, I can't help myself but help them. Like, I will even, whenever like March or so comes around, I will even get them a microphone, because if they really need it and they want to help out, and I see they want to help out and they want to be like that, I'm definitely going to give them a microphone if I can, and I'm definitely going to like help them with voice acting. But when it came to, that was definitely one thing for the voice actors themselves. But when it came to the cast, I don't want the bigger cast, because this series is meant to, and I've said this in the beginning, this is meant to encapsulate Bruce. This is Bruce coming back to Gotham. But yeah, no, so with the cast, I definitely wanted it to be grounded. I don't plan on doing fantastical elements in this Batman like trilogy or this Batman universe. I definitely, and if I'm going to do fantastical elements, not saying this is a character, but sometime down in the future, like Clayface, say that he's a character that's interesting to me, and I'm like, okay, he deserves at least some sort of a spotlight in this particular universe. I'm not going to do the shape-shifting creature. If anything, I'm probably going to mix the, like, old and the new. So instead, what I'll do is I will have him have, like, in the Golden Age, he had that yellow bandana and he had a knife. Pretty simple like that. I would do stuff like that. And if I really wanted to, I could have him hijack like a science facility, something in Gotham, where there is this thing, this putty that like really just made his face ugly, and that's why he uses the yellow bandana. So it's mixing the fantastical element of how he got his clay powers and the OG, the golden age of how he became Clayface. One thing that was definitely in mind is that I never ever wanted to do anything for I never wanted to do any hardcore characters for this series. I didn't want to do like ones that really come off the top of my head is this is going to confuse you really badly, but Batman. I don't plan on having a Batman because this is Bruce's first year coming back to Gotham, and this is meant to be, you see the flaws, you see the bad of Bruce and how he works on that and how he morphs and shapes into the Batman by the end of the series. Am I saying there's a Batman? No, there's no Batman. There won't be a Batman. There won't be a Joker. There won't be all these things because it's so centered on Bruce and how he has to deal and tackle these crime lords. As Geek has mentioned, Commissioner Loeb, he's another person. That dude is corrupt as fuck. He bleep that out if you want, but he's corrupt.
No,
like,
we can say fuck. We're good.
only 3 times. This is PG-13.
Fuck! Oh no, there it goes!
Oh no, but
Oh no, we're PG now!
but no, that like Commissioner Loeb is one bad dude. He's really terrible. And you're gonna see just how he influences the police and how the police then goes out to be these bad people, whereas we need people like Commissioner Gordon who will uplift the spirits of the police and give that peace to Gotham as much as he possibly can.
This is interesting to me because one of my questions that I had ready was, what is going to be the bigger focus on this project? Whenever we see Batman, we never see a full focus on his full identity. For example, Justice League, Batman animated series, the focus is heavy on Batman as this vigilante character. Meanwhile, if you look at something like the Batman Begins series of films, then it focuses more on Bruce Wayne as an individual. And that's what my question was going to be. Is this going to focus more on Batman or Bruce Wayne? But it sounds like you've got a pretty solid idea for Bruce Wayne.
It centers around Bruce Wayne, but it, at the end of the day, gives the idea of the Batman. And I will say that he is a very flawed Batman by the time that he actually becomes Batman, because when that finally happens and he finally dons the cape and cowl, that won't be until like the very end of the series.
Spoiler for the post-credit scene, everybody.
pretty much, but
like a Marvel movie.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But he's still, I wouldn't say a bad Batman, but he's still learning. And even then, there will be so many cliffhangers at the end that we have no choice but to do a sequel. So when that sequel comes out, and I hope that that interests some of the audience, because as I said, cliffhangers. I'm not stuttering. There will be cliffhangers, and there will be questions that will still linger after the series. And when after that series comes out and those questions get answered, that is when you will see the true identity of who Bruce Wayne is trying to be and how he then perfects himself and he becomes the Batman, and that becomes his new identity. I will say there are parts in the series that give Bruce that inspiration to be like, this is my calling. And there will be references to like bats and stuff, like bats flying in a cave, for example. And he sees that and he realizes that's something he's scared of. And it's not until that big punch where he gets scared by the bat and it like flies in his face. That's when he's like, that's how I do it. That's
his
how
inner
it
awakening
becomes
of Batman.
this. Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. It's symbolism a little bit.
I
Yeah.
want to step away from the story for a minute. Let's go back to the
Okay.
actual building process behind the scenes. Some of these
Yeah,
buildings that we've seen, I've looked on these small snippets of footage that we've got of them. Some of them look to be
Yeah.
nearly 100 blocks wide in some places. How
Yeah.
did you even start with building some of these things? Like, it would just absolutely rack my brain trying to figure that out. So what was your process?
I think honestly, Geek could say something about something that I'm doing that I'm doing pretty soon. It will be, I will say that will be open to the public at some point, what I'm doing behind the scenes. But I'm using a way to help other people how I built. And I started on the best of the best Batman Gotham cities there ever is, the 1989 Gotham. I will die on the hill saying it is the best because when you look at it, it screams hell. It screams nightmare. So when you see that Gotham, there are things that shouldn't be in that Gotham. There should not be pipes holding the building up. Those things should not exist. So I learned from that Gotham, and one of the reasons why it took me 3 years to really understand is that I had to backtrack myself to then understand it from a realistic version of how to build Gotham, or a Arkham version of how to build Gotham. But Geek, though, there's something that I'm starting, and I think that he can answer that. And I don't mind. Go off the rails too, Geek. You say what and how you feel about what I plan on doing. I don't know what base stabilizer's probably gonna say, but Geek, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really like how you mentioned how, I mean, the buildings of some of these buildings is just it's crazy. I want to talk more about the details, though, and actual, like, how he's talking more about when he's building it, right? So the residential neighborhoods bring, like, more of, like, a stark contrast. You can see, like, the weathered townhouses. I actually added shaders, and I noticed very little details. Like, the base camera would actually go, and he would do this every single day, as he would texturize the different areas and different biomes on the map, and he would use different materials for that. So we were actually working together on this cinema, this theater, right? And we were typing out we were making the letters on the theater. We were building the letters bit by bit. And I think, obviously I haven't been here for the entire building process, but the fact I can tell base camera over the past 3 years, he has done this bit by bit, little by little, and paid very attention to these key details in the story. It's almost like, in GTA 5, I'm going on kind of a segue here, but in GTA 5, no matter how much you play the game, there's always little details of the story that make it, the best game that it is, the iconic story of the GTA 5 game that Rockstar kind of did. So, yeah, base camera, he just brings the city to life with all the small and meaningful details. The weathered brickwork, the cracked sidewalks, the Gotham's gritty history, graffiti-covered walls, subplots of rebellion and identity, the lighting design, everything. Even the street lamps, I actually saw a portion of the street lamps on Gotham where you can click on a button and trigger the street lamps and turn them on and off, and the glow of the neon signs of the newest building that he built, which is a warehouse, right? So that's where Batman is going to kind of crash through, and there's going to be a cool little effect in the animation process. So, I didn't even get to build that with him, but in one day he built this entire structure and already had the full design laid out. So, I'm really excited for this course. He's creating his own course where he's going to teach the entire building team his secrets and the secrets behind the building guru and how he's kind of manifested these details into the city. So
I can't wait
that's
to
all
see
I
your
gotta say
course
about it.
promoted on Instagram Reels. I can't wait. I can't wait to open Instagram and go, wow, it's a really cool Minecraft build. Swipe left and see something like, do you want to learn how to build like this? Message base.camera and he will offer you a place on his course to learn how to build like a pro.
You gotta watch his 30 seconds or less series too. It never gets old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see, that's one of the parts of the terms and conditions. To join a course, you have to watch that entire series.
Yeah.
Yeah, also going back on what Tristan said, I think Tristan faintly mentioned this, but he can also talk. I know we haven't given Tristan much time to talk here, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I
he talked about how
apologize.
there are many different districts in Gotham City. So I'm actually building my own island, and I actually work with this with Base Camera when we first started this. I'm giving full credit to him because he was the one who built this. I just kind of overwatched. But he kind of like what he does is he has different color stained glasses, and he would label. He's very organized. You got to see him build it. It's like watching art. He's very organized, and he has signs, and he labels each part of the city. He already knows what building is going to be what. So when he talked about the dimensions of the building, he already knows in his head. He has it, engraved in his mind what the dimensions are going to be of each building. So we're doing. I think it's called like Sheridan Park or something. What's it called?
Sheldon
It's like
Park. Yeah,
Sheldon Park. Yeah. Butchered that, but that's
No,
what
you're
we're
good, you're
building
good.
on my island, and I feel like that's the main attraction. So Tristan, do you want to talk a little bit more about kind of your thought process and what you admire about the different divisions in Gotham City?
I mean, what I admire about the divisions in Gotham City is just how much like everything, how different everything is. And when it comes down to building, honestly, the process to me is one where, we're working as a team, me, Geek, and Base Camera. And with these buildings, like Geek said, detail is something to me that I also think is very important. And I think the fact that we're not only able to like implement detail into these buildings, but like even some of the buildings we've built like insides to the buildings.
Hmm.
So like you'll
Oh,
see
yeah.
some buildings where you can actually like go inside the building and there's rooms and and it's really cool that we were able to add that to Gotham because I feel like with a lot of people's Gothams, it'll be like they'll have buildings, but a lot of the buildings are just like mostly fake. Whereas I feel like a lot of our buildings actually have like detail even on the inside. So
Mhm.
like you'll like see the outside, you'll see all the detail on that, and then you walk in and then you see even more detail. So it's like the level of detail that we're implementing to this is why people are going to want to see this Gotham.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come back for more kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, in one of the YouTube shorts on the Base Camera channel, he actually talked about a room, and inside the room there's a table, and like a chair and like a nice little kind of like lighting setup there. Like the chi. And so if you overlook the city through the window, you can see like the entire city
Yeah.
encompassed in like from the room. It's crazy. The detail is
It is.
crazy. So
It really is. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Base was talking a little bit about how he built 2 statues as well. Do you want to talk about that as well? The 2 statues.
Oh.
They're like facing across from each other. I think it's like foreshadowing to a character.
I'll say, I'm glad you kind of brought that up too. All I'll say
You don't
is
need to
that
spoil it, but yeah.
he's
I
got the
won't-
face
I
as if
won't,
we're spoiling his
but-
entire franchise right now. This is the face you pull when Tom Holland says who the next Avengers villain is going to be.
Tom
all
Holland
I'll
spoiled his entire life, though.
yeah, he did.
Guess what I do at
But-
27, guys?
All I'm gonna say is that when you really pay attention to the background details of these series, movies, etc., you will see that it may hint to something. And all I'll say is that, as Geek said, there are statues. Some statues are good, some statues are bad. That's what I'm gonna leave it at. No further comment.
Great sentences. Makes lots of sense. I'm sure
Very
that we're not having
mysterious,
anyone
bro, his
watching this
aura.
entirely confused.
All I'll say, to be continued.
To be
It will
continued.
make sense.
We love
it
a-
will make sense in the end.
We love a bit of foreshadowing. And while we're talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
the future, what's next for Batman? Or Bruce Wayne in our case, I guess. What is your plans for him after this releases?
I'm gonna say in the sequel, he's definitely going to be darker because he's got more of himself together. And I don't mean darker in the sense of like there's gonna be a scene in the Shadow's origin where he like he's like beating someone up and he like leaves in there. It's gonna feel a little more of the Arkham inspired, where he's gonna try to take every single one of them out. I mean, there will be spoilers, kind of, but there will be a scene where he straight up, like, he's fighting someone, he like blocks, he hits him in the gut, and he grabs him, throws him, he hits the roof, and leaves him to fall onto the floor. So he's going to be more brutal as the years go by, and he's like getting beaten down essentially, because there will be a part where he will snap and he realizes I've gone too far, and he kind of pumps the brakes and he reels back. Character development, but he reels back and he realizes he did something really terrible and he needs to fix it. And yeah, that's my future for this version of Batman.
Starting to wrap up a little bit of the questions, we've asked what's next for Batman, what's next for Blockburst, what's next for the studio, your projects in general. What will you do after Batman? You got a smile on your face like you know what you're gonna do, but you don't want to say just yet. Do you want to settle with you've got what plans after?
2 words.
Alright, we're getting 2 words, guys. Listen carefully.
1989. That's a good one. And Marvel. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's interesting.
That's all I'll say. But there are plenty of plans. There's universes left to be explored, and this is just one of them. I can't wait to show people more of what's going to go on, because I will say this Batman universe will feel like it'll take forever, but when it ends, you're going to wish there were more. And yeah, that's it.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say, or
who does the animation? Me. That's yeah, no, question. It's me.
We haven't addressed the animation whatsoever during this.
Yeah, no, I'm doing animation, and I will say there will be a big step up and an upgrade. Geek and Base Stabilizer, you guys are gonna yell at me. Davey's gonna yell at me for what I'm about to say, but those two have already seen the trailer, and it's a big step up from the teasers. 100%. It's better in every way there it possibly could be, and I'll even say that the trailer itself is story based, and if Base Stabilizer can back me on this, but it feels like a real Hollywood trailer. Geek could probably back me up with that, where it doesn't feel fan made. It feels, because there's even questions in the trailer.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
I mean, even content for you, Davey. If you wanted to do a breakdown of the trailer, there's questions that will be left in the trailer where it's like, why did we get shown this? And you can theorize like what it could mean. Just some ideas for you, but yeah. But yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have anyone here. Is there anything anyone would like to add before we start wrapping up?
All right, well, here's a surprise. These are 4 official screenshots. Save them now, because once this interview is done, I'm going to delete this channel. But these are 4 screenshots of the actual trailer. And I thought I'd let you guys have a little taste, just a little taste of what the trailer has to offer. Pulling a James Gunn, essentially. But yeah, I thought you guys would enjoy that. These are parts of the trailer, and yeah, even more theories for you to chew on, Davey, too. but
the models in this trailer look fantastic, and I know that you addressed this before I started recording, so I'm gonna ask you to repeat yourself, basically. What did you use to model these weapons? We had someone earlier ask if models and props were made in Blockbench or Model Bench, one of the two.
That was Dino Wharf. Dino Wharf asked if I used Blockbench, and I did not. Not for this. I used Model Bench, which is a Minimator associated like app, and I've got to say it's better. I think Model Bench is better than Block Bench. I know some people are gonna rake me over the coals for that one, but I'd say, in my opinion, I think there's more flexibility with your models on Model Bench. But yeah, well, that's just like your opinions, man. But yeah,
The
no,
chat is
I
turning
would say it's
against
better.
us.
I'd say it's better, but especially because it's easier to get in between Minimator and Model Bench between the two. But yeah, that's what I'll say.
You've all been fantastic. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming here. And
Yes,
we are
thank you,
really
audience.
looking
Thank you,
forward
guys. Yeah.
to what your project's going to bring next. The final question I
When-
will ask, when can we expect the next trailer?
Oh, ha.
Yeah, I'm
Funny
I'm
question.
going to put you on the spot now. When's the next trailer, base camera? Come on!
I don't want to say a specific month or so, but I will say mid to late next year, 2025. Definitely somewhere between mid to late. I don't see myself doing it early next year, but it is definitely possible. It's very possible that I could do it early next year, but it's going to be a hassle. It's definitely going to be a bit chaotic if I do, but yeah. Trailers that, yeah. Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, base camera. Thank you, base stabilizer. Thank you, Geek. Thank you to our fantastic audience who has been really keeping this alive as we've been going.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Davey, for
Yeah,
hosting this
thank you,
incredible
yeah.
interview.
Very incredible. I will say, you did tell me when you're gonna post this video, December 22nd. So I centered the first trailer around the post, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on December 22nd. So when you guys see this video, chances are it may be out, or if you do if you post this video early, later in the day, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's when the trailer will be released. And I'm just happy that we finally got something out after 3 long years, coming up to 4 with 2025. We've got something out, and it's great to say that because I always want to get something out. All these projects, I'm always looking forward to, like, okay, what's the next time that we're gonna put something out there for the audience. But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what people think, and I hope this actually becomes like a really big thing. I hope like the episodes get like 30,000 views each, but like chances are they will, probably not. But but I hope this becomes something really big, and I hope this is something that everyone can enjoy. Everyone can say. And I know that I said this earlier in the interview, and I didn't like I kind of said it. And yeah, the one thing was there won't be a bat suit for the Shadow's origin. I kind of said that, but there won't be a bat suit. Yeah. Last thing that I'd say about the trailer is look carefully. Look carefully. That's it. Because they'll tell you more about the story if you do. And yeah.
December
One
22nd,
thing.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are going to be getting the trailer on the Blockburst, on the base camera channel, which will afterwards be available on the Blockburst. Let me start this bit again. December 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are going to be getting that trailer. So make sure to check out the base camera channel, which will be linked down in the description below of this interview video. Special thank you to everyone who's been here. A special thank you to everyone who's been watching. And I will see you all soon. And we are all looking forwards to watching this film. Thank you, base camera.
See you guys later.
It's been a pleasure. I'll see you all in the next one.
Toodaloo.